All right, we're going to talk about an insect that might just completely change how you think about creepy crawlies. They're big, they're loud, and they're from a super remote island. So, could a Madagascar hissing cockroach actually be your next cool pet? Let's find out. Okay, so when I say the word cockroach, what immediately pops into your head? Probably something scuttling around in a dark kitchen, right? Definitely not something you'd want as a pet. Well, I want you to just hold that image in your mind because we are about to completely flip it on its head. Get this. On planet Earth, there are over 4,000 known species of cockroach. That's a huge, incredibly diverse family of insects, and they live in pretty much every environment you can imagine. But here's the real shocker. Out of those 4,000 plus types of roaches, fewer than 30 of them are the kind we think of as pests. That's less than 1%. The overwhelming majority of them are out in nature doing really important jobs, like breaking down dead plants and basically being nature's own little cleanup crew. So let's just forget about that tiny percentage and meet one of the good guys. This is the star of our show today, the Madagascar hissing cockroach, or as we'll be calling them, the hissers. So what makes these guys so special? Well, for one, they're like gentle giants. They can get up to 4 inches long. And maybe the best part for anyone who's ever been spooked by a bug, they have no wings. That's right, they cannot fly at you. They're native to the island of Madagascar, and well, they have that unmistakable, super loud hiss.
Okay, let's zoom in and take a closer look at what makes these insects so different. Once you get a peek at their anatomy, you'll really see how they're nothing like the roaches you might be picturing.
And check this out. It's actually really easy to tell the males and females apart, which is pretty rare in the insect world. The males are the flashy ones. They're bigger, they have these awesome-looking horns on their backs, and their antennae are much thicker. The females are a bit more streamlined, a little smaller, thinner antennae, and a smooth back. All right, let's talk about that famous hiss. When you hear something hiss, you're probably thinking of a snake or a cat, right? A sound they make with their mouths. Well, hissers do things a little differently. If that sound isn't coming from their mouth, where is it coming from? The whole secret is in these special little holes on the sides of their body. They're called spiracles. You can kind of think of them as a line of tiny nostrils running down their abdomen. Now, all insects have spiracles to breathe, but hissers have evolved a way to use them to make some serious noise. And here's exactly how it works. Whether they sense danger or they're trying to talk to another roach, they just squeeze their abdomen real tight. That forces a blast of air out of those spiracles, and the result is that loud, surprising hiss. It's their own unique language. And as if hissing wasn't cool enough, these guys are also phenomenal climbers. Their feet have these specialized pads and tiny little hooks that give them an incredible grip. This means they can scale pretty much any surface, even something as slippery as glass. And that amazing climbing ability is the absolute #1 thing to keep in mind if you're starting to think, hey, this bug is pretty cool. Maybe I'd want one as a pet. So let's get down to it and talk about how to build the perfect hisser home. Setting up a home for a hisser is actually way simple. A basic glass or plastic tank works great, but, and I can't say this enough, because they're master climbers, you absolutely must have a secure, escape-proof lid. No exceptions. Then, just toss in some bedding like coconut fiber, give them hiding spots, cardboard egg cartons are perfect. And for water, a soaked cotton ball in a little dish is the safest way to go. Okay, one of the most critical parts of hisser care is the temperature. There's something called ectotherms. That's just a fancy word that means they're cold-blooded. See, unlike us humans who generate our own body heat, a hisser's body temperature is totally controlled by its surroundings. This diagram explains it perfectly. On the left, you've got the ectotherm. That's our hisser. It has to get warmth from an outside source, like a heat lamp. Then on the right, that's us, an endotherm. We eat food, our body burns it up, and we create our own heat. That's why, for a hisser, the temperature inside its tank is its body temperature. And that's why this number is so key. Hissers come from tropical Madagascar, so they like it toasty. Their happy place is right between 80 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. A small heat mat under one side of the tank is usually all it takes to keep them healthy, active, and, happy. So we've built the perfect little roach apartment. Now, what's for dinner? Let's take a look at the menu for a happy, healthy hisser. Out in the wild, hissers are basically the forest's compost crew, eating fallen fruit and decaying plants. For a pet, it's way easier.
Their main staple should be a high-protein dry food, and believe it or not, dog or cat food works perfectly. Then a few times a week, you can give them treats like some romaine lettuce, carrots, or a slice of apple. Just one pro tip. Make sure you take out any uneaten fresh food the next day so it doesn't get moldy.
So here's the million-dollar question, right? Especially if you're thinking about one of these for a classroom or a family, they might look a little intimidating, but are they actually safe to handle? Let's find out. And the answer is a resounding yes. Seriously, this quote says it all. That hiss might sound scary, but it's a total bluff. These guys are incredibly peaceful. They physically cannot bite you or sting you. They have zero aggression towards people.
Handling them is super simple. Unlike those little roaches, hissers are pretty slow and chill. They're not going to dart out of your hands. You just have to be gentle and let them walk from one hand to the other. And of course, like with any pet, rule number 1 is just good hygiene. Always give your hands a good wash after you're done.
And just to wrap up, here are a few more fun facts for you. They're nocturnal, which means the party really gets started after dark. You might even see a male doing this funny little behavior called stilting, where he stands up on his tiptoes to look bigger and tougher. And get this, with good care, a hisser can live for up to 5 years. That's practically ancient in insect years. So let's put it all together. Why do hissers make such awesome pets? They're quiet, well, mostly. They don't bite, they are incredibly easy and low maintenance, and honestly, they're just super fascinating to watch and learn from. They really are a fantastic pet for someone who wants something unique and educational. Learning about the Madagascar hissing cockroach really shows that there is often way more to creatures than we first assume. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If we were this wrong about cockroaches, what other incredible and misunderstood creatures are out there just waiting for us to discover them? What other secrets is the insect world hiding?